Hey guys and girls, I hope you're having a great week. I hope things are going well for you. And today we're doing another object lesson. And today's object lesson is going to be talking about how we can all be God's children. So, Jesus had a special place in his heart for kids. And sometimes his disciples didn't get that. In fact, in one place in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 19, it says this, starting in verse 13, "Then children were brought to him that he might lay hands on them and pray. And the disciples rebuked the people, but Jesus said, 'Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for such belongs to the kingdom of heaven.' And he laid his hands on them and then went on his way." That was one place where Jesus had interacted with kids, and I'm sure there was a lot of other places. The Bible talks about how Jesus did all of these things, and they don't really list them individually because there were so many great things he did. So I'm sure along with all the miracles he did and the people he met, he also interacted with a lot of kids. There was another incident where the disciples were talking one day amongst themselves, and they went to Jesus and they said, "Hey Jesus, who is going to be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And Jesus had a little child come to him, and he said to the disciples, "Unless you become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." And so the disciples thought to themselves, what is the difference between what I'm doing and how a kid interacts with Jesus? And so what do they do differently than me? And so what they found is kind of like these containers I have. So I have this container here. Let's say that this container represents a grown-up, an adult, right? And then I have this container right here, and this container represents a child. And with a balloon in it. And the balloon, you say, well, what does the balloon mean? Well, the balloon is going to represent who Jesus is. And so a lot of times when we're adults, we have a certain way where you think, hey, we want to connect with God. And so we try to connect with Jesus, and we just can't because we don't represent ourselves well with him. We don't have that connection. That's what we want in our lives, is we want to be able to connect with Jesus. And so we have a tough time doing that. But if you notice the smaller cup, look at this balloon, right? That balloon is connected to Jesus, right? Jesus is there. And why? Because kids often have that ability to just trust that Jesus is who he is and let him be who he says he is in our lives. And sometimes grown-ups, they make things way more complicated than they should. And so we see this representation of kids having an intimate relationship with Jesus, with the balloon. Now, does that mean that adults can never have that kind of relationship with God? No, not at all. Look at this. In fact, if we allow Jesus to be who he is, watch. Look, he can be there and he can be part of a relationship just in adults, just like he can with kids. And so Jesus wants us to have this relationship with him. He wants us to be able to have an intimate relationship with him, one that we can build on, one that we can just allow him to be who he is and allow him to change our lives and allow us to become what he wants us to be in our faith. And so I want to encourage you today, guys and girls, hey, you go on believing in Jesus, having that faith and that trust, and allow him to use you and teach you and grow in you. Okay? So I hope you have a great week. I hope this simple illustration kind of shows us that God loves us and cares about us, and he desires to have connection with us. All right? You have a great week, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.